good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, I had a voice for radio, and ladies and gentlemen, today I am excited, because I know what Eevee GX does. But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, because I intend telling you all about it. I've been waiting to see what this Eevee does for a long time. It was a couple of months ago I did my prediction video on Eevee GX when they released the official artwork, but didn't actually tell us what it did. And that video was really popular, because everyone wants to know what Eevee does. And now we know. The images of the pack in which it is coming have been revealed officially. The lovely David Hochmann, who else, has given us a nice little translation here. So let's have a gander, shall we? Now, the good news is it's not breaking the record for lowest HP. It's not far off, but it's not breaking the record. Eevee has 160 HP, which is marginally higher than Mars Shadow GX. Not much, it's only 10 HP higher, but ladies and gentlemen, that makes a difference, gosh darn it. I should also mention at this stage there are actually 3 different artworks of Eevee GX that are available, which is really kind of cool. Not terribly relevant to how playable it is, but I like that there are 3 different artworks. So, 160 HP, not very good, and of course, it's weak to fighting. We don't really like the weakness to fighting. The problem with the weakness to fighting is Buzzwoles everywhere, and they only need to do 80 damage to get a one-hit KO. Now, we got 2 Buzzwole, the Baby Buzz, Hey Nick, and the regular Buzz, and with a Beast Energy, which is a Prism Star, 1 per deck, and a Diancie Prism Star, which is, shockingly enough, a Prism Star 1 per deck, they are actually doing 80 and getting a one-hit KO. And then, of course, if you've got 4 prizes remaining, Buzzwole with Sledgehammer will get a very easy one-hit KO. It's not ideal. It's just not ideal. I mean, compared to the other Eevee, which has got 60 HP, it's got a lot more survivability, but you're a GX and you give up 2 prizes. It's a risk, I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. It is a big risk seeing your HP, but Zoroark is weak to fighting and Zoroark has remained good, so it's not completely unplayable, but it is something that you do need to bear in mind here. 160 HP and a weakness to fighting is an issue. And being a colourless Pokemon, you're not hitting anything for weakness here, which, again, it's a little bit annoying. It's far from ideal. And you're not even getting all of those tricks. So like lightning Pokemon have Thunder Mountain and Electro Power. You don't get any extra little tricks here for being a colourless Pokemon. So it's not looking great, but then again it's got an ability which is looking pretty good. The ability says that once during your turn, as long as it's not your first turn or the turn this card was played, you may play a card which evolves from Eevee from your hand to evolve this Pokemon. If you do, heal all damage from this Pokemon. And this was one of the big questions we had coming in about Eevee GX. One of the big questions we had was, how are they going to deal with the fact that it evolves into other Pokemon? So if we take Sylveon GX, for instance, Sylveon GX evolves from Eevee. And Eevee and Eevee GX do not have the same name. Eevee is Eevee, Eevee GX is Eevee GX. So Sylveon, generally speaking, does not evolve from Eevee GX. So there needed to be some kind of special ruling on here, and there is. And the ruling, very simply, you can evolve it into any of these Pokemon. So they fixed that problem quite nicely. Anything that could evolve from Eevee can evolve from Eevee GX. However, I do need to give a huge caveat here, and that is that this is an ability on a basic Pokemon, and Alolan Muck, I still think Alolan Muck should be seeing way more play than it is at the moment, and I think the amount of play it's seeing will increase over time, and if there's an Alolan Muck on the field, Eevee can't evolve. This Eevee GX cannot evolve. Now, if we compare that to the Eevee from Sun and Moon, an Alolan Muck will stop you using your ability to evolve, but you can manually evolve. But Eevee GX does not evolve into anything without the ability. So if there's an Alolan Muck on the field, you don't evolve, and you're still weak to fighting, you've still only got 160 HP, you've still got underwhelming attacks, more on those in a minute. So actually, this is a real pain. Alolan Muck is a huge negative for this card. But you heal completely when you evolve. That's great. We did see this a little bit. We had the reprints of some of the primal Pokemon, and they came along with a different ancient trait. Now, don't get me wrong, they were much worse, but Groudon, instead of having Omega Barrier to protect it from stuff like Lysander and Crushing Hammer, it gained the one where you healed completely when you evolved up. Now, I never actually saw any play because Omega Barrier was basically what protected it. It was what made it viable. But Theta Max was a fun one that healed completely when you evolved it. Well, we're back. Theta Max is essentially back here with Eevee. You evolve quite nicely, and when you evolve, you get to completely heal. And there's no doubting that this is good. It means if people are picking away at you, you get to heal up completely. It means that you get to be turn 2, 3, 4 of the game, and then evolve up into Sylveon, and would you believe it, now you're completely healed. So I love this. I love that it can evolve into any evolution. I love that it heals up completely when it does, but I am worried about Alolan Muck. But honestly, the best thing about this card is the fact that it can evolve. Because now we've got 4 Eevee and 4 Eevee GX. Now when we look at Evolution's decks, we've got a whole bunch of different options. We've got Glaceon, we've got Umbreon, we've got Leafeon, we've got Espeon, we've got Sylveon, and then the other 3 that have actually just been released. We got a whole bunch of different options. But there's only 4 Eevee that you can play. Only being able to play 4 Eevee is a little bit awkward. Now, we do actually have Ditto Prism Star coming in Lost Thunder, which can evolve into any Stage 1 Pokemon. So now that essentially gives you 5 Eevees, and with Eevee GX, you now essentially have 9 Eevees that you can evolve up. This is awesome. Now you can make an Eevee Swarm deck, because you've essentially got 9 Eevees to evolve. And for a Pokemon that has 8 different evolutions, it makes no sense to only be able to play 4 Eevees. Now you legit can have all of them. To be fair, if you want all of them on the field at the same time, you'll have to be an expanded and play a Skyfield, but it's still possible, gosh darn it. This makes me happy. But let's be clear, it's not as good as the Eevee from Sun and Moon. The Eevee from Sun and Moon, you attach a basic energy and then search your deck to evolve into an evolution of that same typing. And unfortunately, that's just way too good. Now, that's probably going to be rotated in September 2019, but for the time being, we have this Eevee. And it's just better. 160 HP is low for a GX. Weakness to fighting is one of the worst you can have. And it gives up 2 prizes. I love that you heal when you evolve, but you're so brittle that it's not always going to be an issue, and you give up 2 prizes, and you're turned off by Alolan Muck, meaning you can't evolve. I love that this is here, but it's not as good as the Sun and Moon Eevee. And I'm going to flick through the attacks really quickly, because I don't like the attacks. The main attack here, 3 colourless energy, 100 damage. Look, you can use double colourless energy, fine, I suppose, but you're not hitting anything for weakness. And it's not enough to KO most non-GXs, or at least most of the bigger ones. And then you can add a choice band in your 2-hit KO GXs, but you're 2-hit KOing GXs with 160 HP 2-prize Pokemon with a bad weakness. I don't like it. I don't think this is a good attack. If you're hitting for a good weakness, I could be like, yeah, but you're not, so I'm not. And then the GX attack. David is not 100% sure on this, but Tunu1223 has tweeted out a translation. And essentially, you just put 3 cards from your discard pile into your hand. It's exactly the same as Decidueye's GX attack. It's exactly the same as Bayonet's GX attack. And in a format where we don't have Puzzle of Time, and we don't have Special Charge, so there's no Universal Recovery item card, except Diantha, but that's only for Fairy decks, and we don't have a good way to recover Special Energy, being able to grab any free cards back for 1 colourless energy is a useful thing, and we've seen it be useful with Decidueye and Bayonet. I'm not saying it's a bad GX attack. I'm just saying that it's not the most useful one ever. We have done and can do better. So I don't like the attacks here. I'm going to be giving Eevee 3 Wassies. It's got low HP, It's got a bad weakness, and although the GX attack is useful, and it is useful, there's no arguing about that, it's not a particularly exciting GX attack. The best thing about Eevee is that it now gives you 9 potential options for evolving into one of your Eevee evolutions, and that's awesome. But 160 HP with a bad weakness and underwhelming attacks? I expected more for Eevee, if I'm honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not loving Eevee as much as I wanted to love Eevee. But ladies and gentlemen, it's now over to you guys. Let me know in the comment section how much you love Eevee. Tell me if you think it's good. Tell me if you're just happy that we have multiple options for evolving into Eevee evolutions. Go nuts! But please do remember to be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And do make sure you check out my other channel, Wassy Plays, for some Transformers TCG action. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.